What up? It's your boy T-Bear on the reactions. You about to hear some Tensai because I got my little man, keep my little man occupied as well too. Anyway, about to check out a video from Watch for No, and we check out more post wrestling match WrestleMania stuff as well too, as we kind of still witnessing post WrestleMania as well too. And we're gonna check out 8 worst post WrestleMania debuts. Yeah, sometimes the post WrestleMania debuts can be good, but there's some that are not so good as well too, or they didn't capitalize. So anyway, without further ado, let's check it out. Oh man, yeah, when Rock gave Cody the Beast at the last year's Royal Rumble, man, glad he bounced back. Like I say, glad Cody bounced back from that and finished the story. Anyway, let's keep going.
While the Raw and occasionally SmackDown after WrestleMania have had peaks and valleys over their decades-long existence, it is always fun to get excited for what is typically the biggest red and blue shows of the year. The crowd is usually excellent, with all the folks happiest to watch WWE's biggest and longest shows of the year still coming back for seconds and thirds in attendance. There's usually good matches, and ultimately the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania is the place where we get a look at all the fallout of the big show the night before and debut some new stars who could be expected to play major roles in the big show that'll happen 364 days from then, except these times when that was very much never going to happen. I'm Tempest, hailing from Parts Fun Known, and these are the 8 worst post-WrestleMania debuts in WWE history. Fishing in real life is great and all, but much like wrestling, it also...
Alright, cool. This is Av. We're gonna skip that. So we're gonna do some honorable mentions. Oh boy, I see what an honorable mission is.
Honorable mention, Veer. Oh god, I'm gonna veer. While not technically a debut, the payoff of 6 months of Veer is coming vignettes simply being he shows up and beats up the Mysterios, same as any other foreign heel, was a colossal waste of Veer's burgeoning status as a meme. Number 8, the re-debuts. Last week, we drew a line in the sand and did not count the re-debuts and returns in our list of bests. Sorry, X-Pac, you would have placed highly otherwise. And I'm sorry, commenters, but I simply forgot that Umaga had previously been Jamal on WWE programming. Happens to the best of us. But in this case, we could simply not leave Lord Tensai out of this conversation. If 15-year-old Tempest had been a big New Japan fan like he was just a few years later, he might have been a bit annoyed when Giant Bernard, the former IWGP Tag Champion and New Japan Cup runner-up, returned to WWE to have Albert chants rain down upon him at the Raw after WrestleMania 28. But like I said, 15-year-old Tempest didn't know about any of that and just thought this re-debut sucked. Then just days later, we got another re-debut on SmackDown, this time in the form of Skip Sheffield. Yup. What a stupid f***ing catchphrase. The big muscle man of the Nexus had been out for a year and a half with a broken ankle, but when he returned, he was the hungriest wrestler to have ever graced a WWE ring. And not in a metaphorical sense, Ryback just wanted to eat. See him here taking multiple Subway sandwiches. It is as basic as a debut can be. He squashes a jobber, but given that this could also be said about Ryback's next 6 months, he felt like a fitting inclusion. Number 7, Bertha Faye. Nothing says raw.
Man, I read up the story of her, man, and seeing what she used to be like and how they treat her in the U.S. Both WWE and WCW, man, they low key did her dirty. I'm gonna be honest. Regardless if she was a heel or anything, they did her dirty, yo. And I think the WCW did her worse. To be honest. Though, like, she can't. I'll show you in a minute.
After WrestleMania, quite like a women's comedy wrestler debuting to attack the winner of a Tokyo Dome rematch.
Well, the thing about it, she wasn't a comedy wrestler when she made a debut. Shout out to Boo Boo Hannon on the News Hall of Fame
match. Although now that I think about it, I think there may be a few thousand things that say it better. Bertha Faye was a Trailer Park Mississippian dating Harvey.
Nah, the thing about it, when they date, see, he's not mentioned when they debut. When they debuted her, she had her Rhonda Singh, what was it? Matt or the Ripper outfit, the one she for the debut though. Let me see Bertha Faye. I'm trying to remember her what was her name before she came to WWE. Rhonda Singh before she came to WWE. Monster Ripper. She had her Monster Ripper outfit when she debuted and attacked Alundra Blaze, but at the same time, then they did this. This is around the time when we was in the new generation era when they was all about gimmicks and stuff. They was all about extra. They was doing extra with the gimmicks, and it looked bad.
Harvey Whippleman, straight bars, and she debuted on the Raw after WrestleMania
right there,
11.
She had a Monster Ripper outfit on.
Attacking Alundra Blaze after her match with Bull Nakano. I have nothing against Bertha Faye, the person, aka Rhonda Singh, but a hillbilly comedy yokel is the kind of character that was weighing down the women's division of the time. And yeah, I wasn't kidding. This was the follow-up angle for the Tokyo Dome rematch of Blaze and Nakano, which has me scratching my mask if I'm honest. I mean, to book a match like this,
you already know why. Even then, freaking Vince. I gotta watch my mom because I got a little man, but effing Vince, man, for real.
You would think you would have a certain kind of audience in mind, one that would want to see Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano, and you would think that those fans wouldn't be the ones that would care to see a f***ing trailer park comedy goofball.
Again, look at her. This is her Monster Ripple look, though. They just decided to change her to that goofy one as well.
Get involved.
Vince man was stuck in the 80s.
And as we all know, 1995 was when WWE was doing their best thinking, after all. Number 6, AOP. Considering the Authors of Pain were clearly meant to evoke the memory of the Road Warriors, it only makes sense that Paul Ellering got left at the door when they arrived in WWE. Why learn from your very obvious mistakes from nearly 30 years earlier when you can just do the same thing over and over again? On the night after WrestleMania 34 in 2018, former SmackDown Tag Champs and future Impact Tag Champs, Rhino and Heath Slater, laid down an open challenge to try and inject themselves back into the tag mix, and unfortunately for them, that challenge was met by the Authors of Pain. AOP got their win, but as they made their exit, they committed the cardinal sin that lands them a place on this list. They told Paul Ellering to stay behind and join them no longer. Because what would an NXT call-up be if they didn't make them at least a little bit worse? Ellering was the personality of the team, the man with the pedigree based on years and decades.
Vince McMahon didn't know what to do with NXT talent at the time.
Decades of managerial success. Without him, AOP was just a pair of lumbering big men that blended in with the roster with mixed results. Ellering is back with them now that they're in their comeback era, so time will tell if his addition back to the team can do for them what his comeback did for Hawk and Animal. Hope he just didn't bring the puppet this time. Number 5, the Great Khali. Following WrestleMania 22 and Mark Henry's loss to The Undertaker, what Taker really needed was an even bigger, even less mobile adversary to battle on SmackDown. Enter the Great Khali. Very, very slowly. The Undertaker stops his beatdown of Mark Henry to wonder to himself why Daivari has brought out this clearly very handsome Punjabi playboy during his match, only for Khali to bop him on the head like Little Rabbit Foo-Foo. Seriously, I expect a cartoon bonk sound to play and stars to circle Taker's head whenever Khali uses his dreaded karate chop. In theory, this wasn't terribly offensive. It's a big guy getting smashed over by destroying an established star, but it doesn't get a very impressive reaction. All of Khali's offense looks bad, just as it would for his entire career, and you really got a feel for poor Undertaker going from a No Way Out classic against Kurt Angle for the world title to facing Mark Henry in a casket match at Mania to immediately getting saddled with having to work the Great Khali's first program. Poor man was begging for a quality opponent. Number 4, No Way Jose. I don't think there is a single example of a Raw after Mania debut feeling like the beginning and end of a star's run.
I'm gonna tell you this, they called him all too soon, and I'm gonna be honest, he did not fit the main roster. He did not fit in, but he was like,
better than No Way Jose. With WWE having recycled Adam Rose's character for No Way Jose, it should come as no surprise that his main roster run went just about as well. It all started on the Raw after WrestleMania 34 when Jose quickly beat John Skyler, who you may have recently seen in TNA, with his pop-up punch, by far the worst of the pop-up finishers. This is really where the post-Mania call-ups began to feel manufactured. Who's gonna show up tonight? Ooh. Then it's No Way Jose, there is polite applause, resume regular programming. It feels like an NXT call-up off a factory line. Like, no one thought No Way Jose was ever gonna be a top guy. No, you stop writing that comment. No, you didn't. And sure enough, outside of a pair of wins against Baron Corbin and Kurt Hawkins, did he win a match on Raw ever again? No way, Jose! Number 3, Lars Sullivan. There have been a few
say.
And memorable retirement ceremony.
That big piece of trash.
He's on the Raw after Mania over the years. Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels and Paige immediately come to mind. The wrestlers are allowed to say their piece and be celebrated for their legendary careers. So tell me why the that same luxury was not afforded to Kurt Angle in 2019.
Twice!
It is bad enough that Kurt had to have his last match against an opponent he didn't want.
Right. They did Kurt Angle dirty, yo.
In a bad 5-minute match, but to then have him laid out on the following night as well just really does drive home.
I'm back. You see somebody was getting restless. So anyway, yeah, they did Kurt Angle's whole retirement first. His retirement match was crap. They had him against Gary Corbin, and then he didn't have a nice retirement either afterwards.
Want in a bad 5-minute match, but to then have him laid out on the following night as well just really does drive home the point that WWE did not respect Kurt on the level of his legendary years. Anyway, I guess I should talk about the actual debut now. Lars Sullivan was a decent big guy from NXT with a yet-to-be-unearthed history of problematic opinions, and following an address from the Red, White, and Blue Machine on the Raw after WrestleMania 35, Lars laid him out and left him laying. It's just unnecessary. I don't know what more there is to say. There are a million ways to debut a guy. It doesn't have to be laying out.
Then this little loser had he had anxiety, and not done find out he was knowing or a race. He was low key a racist, and one, and supposedly he was some other controversy I don't want to talk about either.
Out the guy that just had the retirement match he didn't want, who also got inducted into the Hall of Fame by someone he didn't want. Wow. I love Kurt Angle, and I just wish he got more there at the end. Number 2, 2020. If the year of our...
Oh, damn. Oh, man. What a time we dealt with in 2020 because of the pandemic.
Lord 2020 feels like a fever dream to you, just wait until I read off the card for the Raw after Mania 36. You start off normal with Asuka beating Liv Morgan in 11 minutes, then there's some DQ wackiness with the Street Profits, Bianca and Zelina Vega's crew, and then Aleister Black versus Apollo Crews for, oh my god, 27.5 minutes. Things have officially gone insane, but we ain't done yet, because we have the first main roster appearances of Danny Burch in a tag team match alongside the briefly seen Oney Lorcan against Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, and Brandon Vink, better known today as Duke Hudson, who lost in 3 minutes to Humberto Carrillo. Now these may seem insignificant, and ultimately I guess you would be right, but I need to remind you that this was when WWE was reportedly high on Brandon Vink and started pushing, in the loosest sense of the word, him and tag partner Shane Thorne as MVP's first managerial clientele. I mean, they're basically the original Hurt Business. And what a way to start that.
I can't remember this. I forgot that was... I just not realized that was Duke Hudson. Okay, wow.
And while this technically didn't constitute a debut either, with a Raw appearance coming the previous December, I will give you 5 seconds to guess who Nia Jax beat in 90 seconds on this show.
I forgot. Nope.
Did you say AEW star Deonna Purrazzo?
Oh.
I bet you didn't. Those were our surprises for the Raw after Mania circa 2020, and you know what? It does feel appropriately mad. And speaking of, number 1, Lily. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this while recording with the doll right behind me, but for Bray Wyatt to make his final appearance of this run on the same show as the debut of this stupid thing just offends me. But no, I'm kidding. This isn't number 1. Just put the knife down, Lily. I'll change it. Number 1, Sin Cara, the very first Triple H project to arrive on the WWE main roster, and boy did Sin Cara ever make Triple H feel confident fast. After weeks of vignettes hyping up the arrival of, at the time, Mexico's greatest luchador, Sin Cara finally made his debut on the Raw after Mania 27 to make the save for poor Daniel Bryan. He runs, he jumps, he immediately f***s up his entrance. Way to make a first impression. The run of the original Sin Cara has gone down in WWE folklore as one of the company's most disappointing, and you really do get the sense this run was cursed right from the start. I don't know if his nerves got the best of him. I don't know if his tiny secret trampoline was too close to the ring. I don't know if he simply f***ed up. But what I really don't know was what was going through Sheamus's mind when he watched this man take a tumble over the top rope, knowing he was about to have to make him look as good as possible. Props to you, Sheamus. You're a stronger man than I. Thank you so much as always for watching our list here on Parts of Unknown, and before you go, make sure you check out this video's sponsor, Fishing Clash. You can find their link in the description.
Cool. Anyway, yeah, some interesting debuts, man, that wasn't that great as well too, man, and some I had to be hurtfully reminded as well too. Anyway, other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.